Well, good evening. Welcome in. Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode here on the Buckin Nonsense Podcast. I'm your host, Seth Meyer. Alongside me, the one, the only, Mr. Tony Francik. Tony, how the hell are we doing this evening?
Oh, we're doing.
I guess we'll get into how we're doing here real soon.
Oh, man.
Today, Monday, December the 8th, I think we got a little bit more of a schedule going now. Excited to be here tonight and excited to sit down and talk with you guys. I have not had the opportunity to get out recently. Tony, it's to my knowledge you did some hunting this past weekend?
Yep, I went out for the Missouri antlerless portion.
Antlerless.
Went out Saturday evening, Sunday morning, and Sunday evening. So, yeah.
And to start this episode, do I need to say the name of where you were at, or should I keep that a secret?
It was a private piece.
We won't get into that.
This was private. No spots being burned.
If you listen to the last episode, you would understand the reference there. But, well, good. I'm excited to hear how that went, even though I already know how it went. And we're going to dive into that. I'm hopeful over the next coming weeks, I'm actually going to be able to get out and do some hunting here and get in the stand. My girlfriend's mom, actually, I sent you that video of that buck.
Good-looking buck.
So they live, about 4 minutes up the road from us, and she sent me a random video from my old trail camera 2 nights ago of a pretty solid, I think he was a 10, I want to say, 10 or 11. I thought he had a weird kicker come off
I couldn't
one
tell
side.
in the video I saw.
Right in their backyard coming through, and they only got a handful of acres, but there's a massive ridge. I've been down in there once scouting, found a lot of sign, found a stand that I could see on the neighbor's property, so I'd have to be mindful of that. But I'm thinking I'm gonna bring the bow back with me and maybe do a little self-film ground hunt back there. That could be fun late season. We'll see how it goes. But anyways, tonight's topic we're gonna get into. We're gonna start really trying to dive in to some knowledge-based stuff here and sharing some of our experiences. Focusing on that. Tonight's big focus is mistakes you make while deer hunting. Tony, have you made any mistakes recently out in the woods, if you don't mind me asking?
I have. I have. Saturday evening. I did.
I'm not putting you on the spot here. You're a damn good hunter. Some may say you're 10 times better than I'll ever be. Walk me through what happened Saturday night. We're gonna dive into the mistakes topic. Run us through how everything went, your mental thought process. Take us through it in your eyes and what you think happened.
So I was hunting this particular piece, overlooking basically a CRP field, and it's a long, skinny field. I think it's about 200 yards to the end, but then back kind of behind me and off to my right, over my right shoulder, there's another pasture CRP field kind of thing back there. Well, directly behind me, I had 2 does slip past me. They saw me kind of moving, trying to get the rifle, get turned around, because I did not expect them to come from that way. I just happened to look back there and I could see them. Only had one lane to even get a shot off, and the doe was already standing in there. Had a real good view of me in this box blind that I was in. And anyway, she kind of scurried off behind some tall stuff, and all of a sudden I just see a head poking up out of some other tall stuff that was not the same deer. And I've never done a headshot or anything like that.
Well,
I wasn't about to try it, I'll be honest. I was like, I don't really want to try it.
You will never see me taking a headshot. That's just, I know some people say, if you're talking in terms of ethical, I guess that's actually a weird divide. To me, it's not ethical. The reason is the margin for error, in my opinion, is much smaller as opposed to taking a normal vital shot. I just don't think, for me, it doesn't work. I'm not a headshot guy. I never will be a headshot guy. People say, oh, you don't waste any of the meat that way. Yeah, okay, but if that's your only argument, mine is just from the sense that I think the animal deserves more, and many people are going to say, well, that doesn't make any sense. That's okay. That can be for a different episode. We'll stay on the topic of mistakes here, but I totally agree with you on not taking that shot.
Like I said, it's not something I'd ever done before, so I wasn't about to try it in that situation. So probably 5-10 minutes go by, and all of a sudden I see those same 2, what I believe were the same 2 deer in that back field back behind me. And at this point, when I saw them, they were about 200 yards away. And I got flipped around, gun out the window, ready to go, locking in. And the one I was aiming on was kind of kept moving, going through some taller grass and stuff, which, yes, you can get a bullet through there. But my biggest thing was I could not really have a good visual of the goodie box. So that's not a shot I was going to take. And then it eventually kind of started working away from me, so the only thing I saw was its ass staring back at me. So, and then the other one kind of worked out into a spot where I could get a shot off in some lower grass, where I could get a good, clear, crisp view of the entire body, specifically the goodie box. And at this point, she was about 225 yards away. And at this point, I'm pretty damn excited. You know, even the does, they get me, my heart just thumping, man, I tell you. And I settled in, tried to control my breathing, calm myself down, shot, and she just stood there and looked at me for a second. Basically enough time for me to rack another shell in there, and then she kind of trotted off and ran into a spot where the only thing I could see was her back end. Stood there for 5, 6, 7 seconds, something like that, and then eventually worked off. I plain missed that deer at 225 yards. I missed the deer.
So now let's get into the other half of that story that you left out with the phone call.
So So we had the bright idea, me, that
it was you. You did text me, shoot me a message about it. I was on board. I was out of town this weekend.
I told him I was going to call him, and we were going to get an audio clip of me shooting this deer. There was an audio clip.
There's an audio clip
of me shooting at a deer.
Yes, yes. The audio clip's out there. That may be the new running joke on the show. I won't play it tonight. Actually, it's on my phone, which is currently set up filming us on this episode. So you get a get out of jail free card tonight. We'll leave it alone. I know you may have it on your phone. We'll leave it at bay. And right there, like you saying that you missed that deer, the excitement came up, and obviously, in that back half of your mind, you were wanting to, me to get that audio clip, because obviously that would make great for what we're doing here, just something extra to add on. And I actually think that a lot of people will prioritize nowadays, the content side of it, as opposed to focusing on the animal in front of you. And it can be tricky. I haven't done it much. We've hunted with a camera. I've hunted with a camera a handful of times, and it can really be tricky. But I don't really believe that that's what led you to miss that shot. I think that was just kind of something that
I know
just
exactly
happened.
what made me miss that shot.
What made you miss that shot?
So, amongst all the excitement, one of the key things that you need to do, whether it's rifle hunting, bow hunting with a compound, crossbow hunting, your trigger needs to be smooth. That did not happen in my situation. I got excited. I don't want to say flustered, but I had to change my target. On the fly, I guess you could say. Yeah. I had, I don't know, by the time that one gave me a shot, I had 7, 8 seconds, maybe, something like that. And I just punched the trigger. That's just what it comes down to. I didn't have a good, smooth swing. This isn't golf.
Well,
have a good, smooth trigger squeeze.
You might be better at that after this weekend.
And it caused me to just plain old miss the deer, which I did go over that. I already had the suspicion that I missed the deer. And to confirm it, gave it some time, got down out of the tree, or out of the box blind while it was still light outside, and I went to the spot where I saw the deer standing for a little bit. No blood, didn't see anything there. It was standing there long enough. I would have seen even some small little drips. I would have seen blood. And went up to the spot where she was standing and looked around. No blood, no hair, nothing. I just clean missed that deer. So
it happens. And how many deer have you missed in your lifetime now?
That is my very first deer I've ever missed.
Well, I would say
rifle and bow.
I would say welcome to the club. Okay, well, we'll leave it at rifle on my end. I guess with the bow, I was 14 or 15, first ever deer I shot at. We'll leave that alone for now. I'll bring it up in a minute. Welcome to the club.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be a part of it, but it's okay. At the end of the day, you're human. I mean, it's going to happen. At some point or another in the whitetail woods, a mistake's going to be made. You can't run from it, but you also can't sit there and dwell on it and think about it and be expecting to make a mistake, because if you're mentally focused on trying not to make a mistake, you're going to make a mistake, right? You just mentioned golf. I guess here's an analogy. If you're standing over the ball and you're telling yourself in your head, don't make a bad swing, don't make a bad swing, don't make a bad swing, you're probably going to make a bad swing, right?
You got a lake off to the right. Don't hit it in the lake. Don't hit it in the lake.
So it's that analogy. It's that mental side, just you being on your own, that can come into play and ultimately mess it up. I just think it was a one-off for you, I'll be honest. I think it was just a one-off, and 220 yards,
225.
You're not always shooting that.
No,
yeah.
I'm 90, 99. I'll give you 95% of the time I'm in the woods.
Yeah.
Where your longest shot, where I hunt, you're lucky to get 75 yards.
Right.
Lucky.
Right.
It's mainly like 50 and in, 60 and in, so. But
Yeah.
I had shot out at that distance plenty of times, so I was comfortable with taking the shot. It's just the adrenaline and the excitement, and that just it got to me. Even on like I said, a little old doe.
I think the excitement of the rut activity you had during those couple of days you took off, seeing all those deer and all that action, I think that was kind of built up a little bit maybe too, and it was just, you know what I'm saying? It was just residing a little bit. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. That's why I get dirt under my nails for a living. We have a problem. We have a major problem right now. 12 minutes in, we haven't even paused for station identification. All right. So my mouth is dry. Also, I want to say one more thing. No, I don't. Let's go ahead and do this. 3, 2, 1. Man, it's so good every time. So every show we've done now, and I just realized this, we've had a new addition to the studio. So the first show I did, I had my deer, and then my grandpa's painting. The second show, when you came on, you brought your Euro mount, put it up there. Now the third show, I just got back from in town, and I got the most badass gift for those of you seeing on YouTube. It's a Busch Light deer. It's a buck made out of a bunch of the limited edition Busch Light boxes.
Oh, I see the corn one up there.
The orange one's up there.
The OG.
Dude.
Oh, there's the orange camo right there.
Anybody who's seen me at that party when I opened that gift, well, I didn't even open it. I stole it from somebody. It's part of the game we play. Let me preface that. It's part of the game we play. It's part of the game at this annual Christmas party for my girlfriend's family. I didn't actually physically steal it. I may have threatened somebody if they tried to steal it from me. I won't get into that. But yeah, so I guess we're going to try to keep that trend rolling. New addition to the studio every single time. That's going to be hard.
Should I bring the first deer I ever shot?
Oh, you have the first deer you ever shot?
Yeah, that little spike.
You got that mounted?
I kept the horns.
Okay,
we cut the skull cap off, basically.
I was going to put your dad. I was going to put your dad on the phone and say, "Hey, what are we doing here?"
No, he's got some. I ought to try and sneak one in here.
Well, we don't need to bring everyone's deer on this show. Hopefully, we can fill it up with ours, maybe in 20 years.
Not this year.
Well, I got a little bit of time left, so relax. All right. So yeah, with that being said, you're out there deer hunting. Mistakes are going to happen. You can't run from them. You're not going to avoid them. It's just, it was funny. I talked to Tony and said, "Hey, I think the next time we sit down on the show, maybe we should dive into some mistakes we've made as hunters and what we learned from them, what we can tell you all maybe not to do, or, you know, what to avoid." And literally with comedic timing, you go out and do that. And I think it's perfect because it just shows like we're human. We're honest guys. We're not going to sit here and try to run from what we've done in the woods. We're not perfect. We're trying to get better. And I think it's just a beautiful thing to learn from. So some other topics I have that I want to dive into, and we'll just kind of talk about. And if you have a topic, throw it in there, interrupt me, or add on to anything I'm saying. This is, after all, a team effort. Obviously, the first mistake, in my opinion, the biggest mistake you can make in the whitetail woods is not having patience. What do I mean by that? It's so cookie cutter. Everybody says it. You got to have patience to hunt, just like you got to have patience to fish. Pardon me. But being in the whitetail woods can be different because it's not always the most action-packed necessarily, right? Some days you go out and you're just watching leaves fall out of trees, right?
Leaves and squirrels run around.
Exactly. And it's not like, for example, turkey hunting in the spring where they're gobbling and hammering off in the distance, or duck hunting where your eyes are constantly in the sky and they're buzzing, and deer hunting can be a lot simpler than that and a lot more relaxed than that. So it may not always be the easiest thing to do to stay patient. And when you start to get impatient, and correct me if I'm wrong, you can lose a lot of mental focus in that.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of lose being actually present in the moment. I've had that problem personally. The biggest one nowadays, cell phones.
Yep.
Especially if you got service where you're hunting. I have some spots I don't have service, and it's actually a blessing because it really keeps me involved. Cell phones are really easy to resort to when there's not much going on and you're not seeing anything, but they can bite you. Anybody who hunts and's been on their phone, I'm sure, has been bitten before. Have you? I mean, if you I've had it happen to me, not once, but multiple times now. And you think I would learn from it, but I still struggle here and there. But just something as simple as being on your phone and not staying present in the moment. Where I hunt, and I know you just mentioned this, I do have that one field. Well, I have two fields I hunt here and there. Matt's field and then that food plot field we just did. And that's a lot easier to hunt while not necessarily being aware because you have so much more ground you're open to seeing. If you find yourself hunting up in thick timber, mature timber, a spot where you can't see out 300 yards in front of you, maybe you can only see 60, 70. By the time you realize what's going on, if you're not mentally focused and prepared, it's too late. It's too late. I've had it before just looking up and watching antlers disappear into the cedar thicket when they walked. And I was just not even in it in that moment. That's a hard one nowadays. Super hard one, especially when you're out hunting because I'm always texting you trying to see what the hell is going on.
We're always messaging back and forth, seeing who's seen deer.
Like, maybe let's put the phone down and we can send a text that says BBD because we're actually paying attention. So with that mental focus, growing up on my end, with my dad and just the way we hunted back during rifle season when I would go down for a week, we would go out in the morning, before sunrise, get settled in the stand about 30 minutes till. And we were typically coming back in about 9:30, 9:45.
Really? That early?
Yeah. And exactly that early.
Wow.
And it's funny because nowadays, I guess it's kind of figured out a little bit more. But you know how many people still do that? They coming in at 9:30, 9:45, going in to get coffee, breakfast.
I'll hear when I'm out on the public. The piece that is to our east. I hear them coming back on the four-wheelers pretty early at times.
Yep. And my gosh, extend your sits. And I'm going to get into a story on my end here about how I learned about that and literally seeing an immediate effect. I think you know what story I'm going to tell.
Yeah, I've got one too.
Oh, well, this is going to be perfect. So stay in the moment. And when you stay in the moment, extend your sits. It can be tough. But here's my personal testimony. And one of the greatest mistakes I made and the potential to harvest the biggest buck of my life by a mile, by a long shot. I'll walk you through start to finish. How that went down for me. Let me grab a quick drink here. So, growing up, we did not hunt late, ever. As I got older, talking 13, 14, Dad started letting me go out on my own with the rifle. And I would come in at 9:30, and I would go back out at like noon. And I started realizing every time I went out, I was jumping deer on my property. We wouldn't see anything in the morning, but I'm going out at noon, and I'm jumping 2, 3, 4 deer. And I'm like, they shouldn't be doing anything this time of day. They're bedding down, right? Well, it's the heart of the rut. And as I got older, I learned the midday sits. Please stay in your stand.
All day sits.
All day sits. And that's hard. I've done the first all day sit I ever did. I seen nothing. Does that make you want to go do an all day sit again?
Absolutely not.
Now, the next all-day sit I did, and this is where the extending your sits part really comes in. It was November, I'm going to give an exact day, but I don't know. It was probably within a day or two. I want to say it was November 14th. Me and my buddy, this was 4 years ago now, We were doing a stack setup, as I mentioned last episode. So I was up on the ridge top in my stand, and he was about 175 yards back behind me to my left in my rifle stand at the time. And I told him, I said, we're going to stay put. I said, I really haven't done much hunting midday, but everything I'm reading and everything I'm researching and telling me, he says, stay put, because that midday break is where those mature bucks will get on their feet to bump up and scent check does. Well, where I'm set up on that ridge, directly in front of me is actually a fence line, and you know right where I'm talking about. And it's probably 30 yards in front of me. And those deer consistently come and funnel. There's a little gap in the fence where it broke years ago. They come right through it, and I got 2 different trails they lead down. The reason they're coming from there is it's a huge pinch point. So if you go down to the right about 200-300 yards, there's a massive field on the neighbors that transitions into a big cedar thicket. Go in the opposite direction to the left is an open, call it a pasture field. It's a little bit bigger, and it transitions into the same cedar thicket. So you got them coming from basically your left and your right on both sides, and it's just a natural funnel almost for them to lead up. Well, here's the mistake part. I'm on my phone reading, and this is like almost ironic, I'm reading an article about doing all-day sits and how to perfect them. And I'm kind of looking down and I'm glancing up. Well, finally I look down at my phone and I'm reading, and I glance up. And I knew right away when I seen it, about 80 yards in front of me, coming right down the funnel. It was a deer I had named Rambo Jr. And I was never big into the naming thing. Nowadays, I do kind of enjoy it just for my own pleasure. I just like doing it. I knew right away it was Rambo Jr. And I froze. I didn't know what to do because it's 12:30. And this giant buck I've been dedicating all my time to is coming right down the chute. So I'm watching him, my gun's up, and I'm ready. And he comes through that fence gap. But instead of coming on the front side of the tree, there's an oak tree right there at that fence gap. He came on the back side of that tree. And you know that oak tree because a different deer got that name years ago too. So he comes behind that oak tree, and he stops. And he's looking, and I can't get a shot. Well, he keeps coming right down the barrel, and he's just behind a couple cedar branches. Well, I got my scope up, and through this little cedar branch, I got it right in the breadbasket. I can see it clear as day. Hammer's back, safety's off, fingers on the trigger. And I hesitated because I said, man, I'm really worried if this 30-30 at 25 yards can blow just through a couple cedar pine straws. Stupidest mistake I've ever made in my life. I didn't do it. And the deer, instead of continuing down the funnel where it actually opens up onto the trail, makes a right turn and starts working up the other direction. Gave him a grunt. He turned around, pawed at the ground 3-4 times, kept moving. Texted my buddy. He's coming through. He worked around my buddy. We did end up seeing that deer again, and that's a story for a different day. No mistakes on my end. But that right there, multiple mistakes were made in just that one sequence. Obviously, I learned the biggest mistake you can make in the rut is not extending your sits. Not being out there. You have to be out there. It's the only way to do it. Being on your phone was part of that. Caught me off guard. I still had plenty of time as he was working his way up, but I may have had more time to get set up and think about it had I not been doing that. Third mistake was not being confident in my shot and also the gun I was using. Anybody out there should know, man, a tiny little cedar branch at 25 yards with a 30-30, don't think twice, shoot. It's a brush gun. If you look up the definition of a brush gun, 30-30, 45-70, they fit those definitions perfectly. They were made for that. And it was just really bad judgment on my part. I wanted to be smart and I wanted to be ethical, but looking back on it, it was a really bad decision I made. So there was a couple points right there of some very common mistakes you can make in the whitetail world and my personal experience with them. Tony, I'm going to transition to you now because I know you got something you want to say here. Walk me through on your end what you got.
So I'm going to kind of backpack off your sit longer, do your midday sits and stuff. this beauty. I'm going to grab him. Screw it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know this was, I believe this was a midday deer, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So this, for the folks on YouTube, this buck right here is not only my biggest bow buck I ever harvested, but my biggest buck I've shot, period. This was shot on November 11th, 2021, I believe. Yes, 2021.
Sounds right.
And that November 11th for me, I'll put him back because I'm scared I'm going to drop him. Oh, Christ.
You almost got it.
You're going to look at his
Good
molars.
enough. YouTube's seen enough of them.
So I shot that deer November 11th, 2021 on the 10-year anniversary to the day of me harvesting my first deer with a bow. I shot my first deer on a bow on 11/11/11. That deer I shot on 11/11. So for me, 11/11, Veterans Day, already a great day. But it just for me, it's like that's like my day. Mm-hmm. I have to be in the woods.
Everyone has their day.
That deer I shot at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It was the day before rifle season, and my dad and I were hunting this piece that we've been hunting for a little bit, and decided, all right, we're gonna go back for that afternoon, later in the afternoon, do laundry, swap the bows out for the rifles, and then just drive up in the morning. Or actually, no, we might have even been driving back that night. Well, we decided we were going to stick it out till 2 o'clock and then just pack up and go home. At 1 o'clock, this buck back behind me came following a doe through this little thicket, which it was a skinny sliver of woods. I got a river right behind me. I think it might have been a cornfield at the time out in front of me. And then I'm hunting in the woods about halfway, favoring the river a little more. It's real thick right there on the edge of the field. Well, this buck was just sitting there, kicked back in what I call a triple tree.
Yep.
Three trunks coming up.
Yep.
I'm like, man, I haven't really seen anything today at all. So I'm kicked back, relaxed, one leg up on one tree, and just kind of taking in the moment, enjoying, relaxing. All of a sudden, out my right, I see fork out from behind this tree that my feet are kicked up on. I just see a blob. I'm like, what is that? Looking closer, and it's a buck dogging this doe. And this is the story I said last episode. I've never seen happen before.
Oh, yeah.
Ever.
Oh, yep.
25 yards straight out in front of me. I saw this old boy breed the doe.
Oh, it's so cool.
Like everything. Everything.
Well, that's how it works. Yeah, they go all the way.
Yeah, I was like, this is neat to watch, but at this point, I'm stood up and have my bow in my hands. And, all of a sudden, they do their thing. They start eating acorns and stuff. The doe starts walking down, and she's directly to my right about 15 yards. She's close. I'm thinking, all right, this buck's going to stick with her for a little bit. He's going to come right here. It's going to be a chip shot, bing, bang, boom. Well, he starts going back the way he came. I had a window about this big, and he was at 25 yards. I was like, all right, I've done this shot before. Drawn back on him. He's stopped, slightly quartered away, and I had to kneel down and boom, release the arrow, saw it go in perfect. And he ran off and let my dad know, and he was like, well, was the shot good? I said, yeah.
I
shot a monster.
You had to be shaking like a leaf.
Yeah, it was so exciting. And then the old man came over, and he was like, where was it standing? I said, right there. So we're looking, find some hair and blood, but then we couldn't find blood for it. Mm-hmm. So we're like, okay. I know he ran through this thicket. So we started kind of zigzagging and walking. I'm like, he ran down this way, and I never saw him kick out. Thought I saw him crash. Mm-hmm. It was windy. I couldn't hear him, but I thought I saw something kicking. So we kind of start walking down the trail, and all of a sudden I just see antlers sticking up. I'm like, Dad, there he is. But yeah.
Got him.
Really no mistake, but moral of the story, do a longer sit.
No, that was great. You got me piggybacking. That's personal testimony from two guys. Again, I was never, ever a midday sitter, and now that I've done it, it's, man, in that November window, right up at the ass end of October through mid to late November, stay in the tree, man. Take your snacks. Take your Little Debbie. Zebra cakes are my personal favorite.
Snickers bars.
Ooh,
Fun size.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, I could see that being the case. But seriously, stay put, extend your sits. It's tough. Hey, man, you know what? If it's hard for you to do it, find a way to do it. I'll keep it simple. You know, I'm not going to try to give you a simpler way or a simpler answer. Like, it's tough. It's tough to stay focused that long and stay zoned in, especially when you see nothing all morning. Because I was always the guy, man, if they weren't dancing around me by 7:30, I was having a horrible hunt. I wasn't going to see anything. The older I've gotten, and I'm only still 24, so goodness, I got so much more to learn. But staying in the tree longer, you will see more deer. Perfect example, when I was down bow hunting, that would have been right, I think the last week of October or first week in November. And I was right on the fence of getting down out of my tree around 9:45. And I said, no, I got to stay put. I have to stay put. I've seen one deer this morning. It's been a slow morning, but I got to stay put because I know if I get down, they're going to come through. 10:15 roll around, and I had that one buck that Melissa named, that real young one, come through, tearing up a scrape, 2 scrapes, putting on a show. Had I gotten down out of the tree like I did when I was a kid, I would have never seen that, and I would have thought that spot was horrible. Another point, I'll transition off of that. Speaking of spots, and I don't know if you've done this like I have, hunting where you want the deer to be as opposed to hunting where the deer actually are.
Yep.
Man, I have made that mistake so many times, telling myself, well, I know they come through here. I know they're going to be there, but they're in a different spot. They're not going to come through there. They're working a different trail. That buck I'm after is in a totally different area, but I'm telling myself he's magically going to appear tonight. I'll be honest, it's never worked out for me. I've had multiple stand locations down there. Honestly, I don't even think you know where a couple of them have been. I hung them not even based on deer sign. I hung them up when I was younger because I told myself, well, if I was a deer, this is where I would want to be. You know how stupid that is?
I think everyone's
Right.
guilty of doing that.
I look back on it, I'm like, I was stupid. Telling myself, like, yeah, it was easy access for me. It was easy to get into. It was easy to slip out. The one stand I put up, I never even seen a deer out of. Because I told myself they were going to be there. Instead of going back to basics, right? Episode 1, back to basics, simplify success. Find the sign, hunt the sign, hunt where you know the deer are. The spot I hunt religiously now, I shouldn't say religiously, but the hunting hole where I'm at quite a bit. The 2 biggest bucks I've ever seen in my life have come in that spot because of one reason. I went up there in the off season one year. I was milling around. I found a handful of rubs in this area, and I went to that fence gap where all these deer come through, and I found tons of hair and stirred up leaves all over this fence. And I said, okay, this is a natural deer trail. They use it after putting a camera up. They use it year round. January 1st to December 31st, I know deer are coming through here. It's not a matter of me wanting them to be there. They're there, and that's how you got to go by it. So I've fallen victim to that trap personally way too many times growing up. But now that I kind of solidified that and figured out, like, hey, they're not always going to do what you want to do. That's pretty basic to explain, but you know, it happens. People do it. If you're listening, if you've done it. I know I said, you know how stupid that is. I'm not trying to be like crude when I say that, but it is, man. Go where the deer are, not where you want them to be. Number one rule I can give you right now: go where they are, not where you want them to be. So, nothing on that one. You're quiet.
I think. Well, I can honestly say I've done the same thing in area that I look at, just getting boots on the ground and seeing it. I'm like, oh, excuse me. Hang on.
Yeah, wash that down. Wash it down. Oh, station identification here on Buckin Nonsense.
Apologies. But I've done the same thing. You see an area, you're like, dang, this looks good.
Looks like something out of a hunting show that you say they just got to be here.
Yeah, and you're, rather than going out and looking for the sign for it, walking through there, where if you would have just taken the extra 20, 30 minutes to walk around, you would have realized, hey, these deer aren't coming through here. Instead, you waste hours or days sitting in that spot expecting something to come by, and it just simply never happens. Just because you think the spot looks good does not mean the deer think it looks good.
100%.
Find the sign, follow the sign.
100%.
That's like
And it's so basic.
It's hunting 101.
Yeah.
It's deer hunting 101.
It's so basic to say that. But it's the truth. It's so the truth. But I guess we can digress off that one. One more point I want to bring up, and I know, I'm not trying to backtrack or anything on this one. Earlier when you mentioned you shot and you were very confident that you missed, but you still got down, poked your head around, looked extensively to make sure you didn't find any blood or any sign that you may have hit that deer. That's a problem I have nowadays with some hunters out there, is if you make a shot and it's not the shot you wanted, or you may think you missed, you owe it to the animal to get down and put in the effort, whether it's 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, mill around and verify without a doubt that you did not wound that deer, hurt that deer. Branch off that, blood trailing. Man, I had one deer I shot years ago when I was younger in the snow. I had this doe come up. I think I was 12 or 13. I was out with my dad. 8-9 inches of snow on the ground. She come up in about 40 yards up there off the one ridge his stand is at. Shot her, no reaction from that deer, just like you mentioned. She didn't react at all. I mean, she just stood still for a second, turned around, and ran off. In the snow, never seen her go down. And hunting the snow, you can see for miles through the trees when it's blanketed white. Never seen her go down, nothing. We wait, 20, 30 minutes. Right there. You shoot a deer, wait. My dad used to smoke when I was younger. He shoot a deer, I shoot a deer, smoke a cigarette. That was the analogy I always used. He'd smoke a cigarette and wait. Took him 5-10 minutes. I know some guys nowadays say wait 30 minutes. Give a little time. Just be patient. That's the biggest thing you can do is be patient. Branching what we said earlier. Anyways, I shoot. He smokes a cigarette. We get down. There is no blood anywhere on this deer. We're searching 30 minutes, probably upwards of an hour at this point. No blood. Grid searching. Nothing. In the snow. You're not going to miss it.
No.
And he looked at me. He said, Seth, I think you missed that deer. I stepped in and said, look, I was younger, and I trust myself with a rifle. I know I'm a good shot. I said, there's no way you can look at me and say I missed that deer. My scope's not off. I just shot it the day before. I know my gun's good, and I know I made that shot. And we went back and forth for a minute, and he told me I missed. I said, Dad, we got to keep looking. I'm not just letting that slip away, right? Because I was confident. I knew I made the right shot, and it was clean. We found that doe 30 yards from where I shot her, piled up behind a tree. Never seen her go down. Never. She blended in so perfect, it was almost weird. Up against behind a tree. It was a clean heart shot, no exit. All the blood was filled up in the chest cavity. We went to open her up. That was it. That right there was how I learned, not necessarily through a mistake. It could have been a huge mistake. That's how I learned. Man, look. If you're confident, especially, look, put that time in. You're probably right. If you're telling yourself you're right, you're probably more than likely right. Follow your gut. Follow your instinct. That deer was out there. She was laying right there. Had we given up, had I second-guessed myself, would have never found her. Coyotes would have came through that night, picked her clean, would have never known, and would have lived thinking I missed that deer. So,
and kind of backpack off that. That's going to be the phrase of the show right there.
It's all right. We know it works.
Not only do you owe it to the deer, but you owe it to yourself.
100%. 100%.
Obviously, we're all out there. We're trying to get the biggest buck we can. We want to do that. But if we're trying to get meat for the freezer.
100%.
And if you're going to do that and shoot a deer, look for 5 minutes, not find anything, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
You owe it to yourself to go get that deer. Yep. You owe it to the animal to go get that animal.
Yep.
Take it home and do whatever you want to do with it. Whether you're process it yourself, that's what I do. We do everything ourselves, or you take it to a processor or a buddy, something like that. You're wanting to put meat in the freezer. Obviously, like I said, everyone's wanting to get a nice buck to put up on the wall, but meat in the freezers, for me, that's the ultimate goal.
Yep, 100%. I agree with you. 110% even. Put the time in, man. I see, I'm on social media a lot. I see people make bad shots. People lose deer. Hey, man, if you go out and you made an iffy shot, it's going to happen. You track this deer for however long and you end up losing blood. It's a super defeating feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a part of that. And there is sometimes that, man, you can't do anything about it. It is part of hunting.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, if you can look back and say, hey, I gave all my effort, I did everything I could to find that deer and confirm it, you did you did your job. You did your job as an ethical hunter. I'm going to keep using that phrase. You did your job. A good buddy of mine, that buck I was talking about earlier, he had the opportunity to harvest that buck. The next morning after that midday sit, that buck came right back through the same area the opposite way. So he went past my buddy in that stack setup, made the shot, and ironically, it was my buddy's first deer he ever shot at. So that probably didn't help matters. And he was a little rattled. We ended up finding blood and tracking this deer, goodness, 1.5 miles. And, for him, I can't imagine what it was like, because this truly was, judging off of what I know and what I got, 150, 160-inch whitetail. And for down where we are, man, that's a freaking hog. I mean, that is a true trophy in that part of Missouri. And we couldn't find that deer. And we searched over the course of 2 days. From going back to last blood multiple times, grid searching, everything we could. Finally, I looked at him. I said, dude, I'm going to be 100% honest. Your deer is alive. That's my final answer on that. But we could not say by any means. We had 5 guys out there looking at one point. We never once could say, hey, we gave up too soon or we couldn't do it. The most beautiful part of that story is that totally affirmed everything on that end was 4 weeks later, New Year's Eve of that year, I had that buck up in the same stand I seen him in on the hoof for the first time, crossing through that fence gap. Alive, walking just fine, moving. And it was like the best feeling in the world. It was painful knowing, like, man, yeah, he got away. But it was so good saying, man, we did everything we could, and now we know that buck's still out there living his life. For me as a hunter, that was almost better than harvesting that animal, because I knew the effort was there and he was still on the hoof. Just, it's a good overall feeling when you dedicate everything you have and what you see confirms it. So, yeah. 43 minutes, and I don't think we stopped talking besides the drink. This might be cooking. Like a new best episode. I don't really know too much more. I mean, we genuinely could probably sit here and talk mistakes for multiple hours, multiple episodes.
Oh, I know a good one.
Go ahead. Let's hear it.
Whether it's rifle hunting, bow hunting, whether with a compound or crossbow or longbow, recurve, whatever. Practice.
Oh.
Practice. When you think you're good enough, practice some more.
That could not be truer. You only get more comfortable with your I'm going to say weapon. I don't really like using that word for hunting.
Equipment.
Your equipment. I don't like the word weapon in hunting. It just doesn't flow well for me. You know your equipment better than anyone else the more you use it. Every time you go out and use it in practice, you are getting better with that certain piece of equipment. Again, bow, crossbow, rifle, whatever the hell you're using. You're going to know it like the back of your hand, but don't get complacent and don't ever think just because you were shooting good last year, if you're waiting that long, and if you're waiting that long, please look in the mirror and think twice. Get out there and shoot, man. Go practice. If you got nothing going, if you need to get away from your wife, I don't know, go shoot. Go find somewhere to shoot. It's the biggest thing. It's the best thing you can do is just go out there and practice, because that will have an impact on your confidence if there's any bit of a doubt. You know, the second biggest buck I ever could have taken, Oak, in the same exact stand. Rainbow Jr. came through. I hesitated because that year in particular, I didn't shoot the bow. Not that I didn't shoot my bow at all. I didn't shoot as much as I should have. And that morning, I made not the best shot on a doe. I was very upset by it. I harvested her clean. There was no bad track job. I hit her high. I spined her. And no sooner than I was pissed off that I made a bad shot, I had to step back and say, hey, this deer in front of me at 20 yards is wounded. I got to make a follow-up, right? I have to be ethical. I got to get this done. Second shot was clean. It was a tough look in the mirror for me because I've always prided myself on being a good shot. But at the end of the day, I did what I had to do to ethically harvest that deer. Long story short, that night, Oak came through for the first time I ever seen him on the hoof. Just this big, massy, mature, tall 8-pointer. Gave me the perfect shot at 30 yards. I had the pin right where I needed it. Went to hit the release, and I hesitated because I had that flashback to that shot I made earlier that day because I second-guessed myself. I wasn't necessarily comfortable with my equipment. And no sooner than I hesitated, he took one step forward. Had I let that arrow fly, I probably would have made 2 bad shots in one day.
Well, that was the weekend I was down there.
You were down there. You went and hunted the stand that I harvested that doe out of that morning.
Because we were trying to get another doe, and there were does filtering through there like crazy. And when I got back to the house and you were telling me that, I immediately said you made, whether it was a decision that you made not to shoot or it was a reaction.
Yep.
Whatever you did was right because there was a strong chance that was going to be a back shot.
For me, I would rather have taken that buck down cleanly, smoked him, had him run 40 yards and crash, then hit him back. He runs multiple 100 yards. We track him, leave him 10 hours overnight, whatever. For me, it's not my favorite thing to do. No hunter, I don't think, wants to do that. Mm-hmm. But, again, 2 bucks in our little mistake series here that I've missed, the 2 biggest in my life. And I've learned something from both of them. Mm-hmm. And that's the best thing you can do, man. Learn from those mistakes. Please, learn from them. Write it down. Write down the hunt. Write down everything that happened. Something. Just keep that in your brain. That way, next time that situation comes up, you are mentally prepared. Mm-hmm. You're ready. And at the end of the day, you're more equipped to get the job done. That's all I got. What else you got?
Let's see. I do want to kind of go practice.
Yeah.
So, obviously you heard Seth and I both worked at Dick's Sporting Goods together back in the day. So, at this time, station identification. God, I love that song.
Oh, that's great.
I couldn't tell you how many times, and this was back when they sold guns, and we were working behind the counter. I could not tell you how many times guys would come in a day or two before rifle season, buy a rifle, buy the ammo, buy the boots, buy the camo, everything that they needed. And they'd be like, "Can you bore sight this?" I said yes, because it was a free thing that we would do if you bought a thing from us, bought a rifle from us, or bought a scope or whatever. We would bore sight it. And I would stress to them each and every time, you need to shoot this before you go hunt and zero it in, because this is only going to get you on paper at 50 yards. The number of guys that I know and even told me that went out there to hunt without even putting any rounds through that particular firearm. Unreal. And that is not okay. For one, you're not going to have any confidence. And 2, if by some miracle you do hit the deer, you don't know where that bullet's going to go. And if you're that bad of a shot, the safety aspect of that, you know what I mean?
Especially on public, just saying, you got other guys around you.
The Orange Army.
Dude.
It's like a pumpkin patch out there.
That particular scenario pisses me off. Mm-hmm. Like it, as you said that, I knew where you were leading. It pisses me off as a hunter. Because I'm out there trying to make sure I'm safe and I'm ethical and I'm doing it clean. And these people that just go out with no regard, just doing it for the experience with no care for the deer, no care for who's around them, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Frankly, that's why hunters get a bad rap, because of people like that. Let me tell you what. If you're one of those people, and good Lord, I've seen it on Facebook. I'm just going to keep tearing this one up because you brought it up. Getting on Facebook. I hit the deer. This is what the blood looks like. Bore sighted my gun 3 days ago. You know how many times I've seen people put that on Facebook? I've seen it
so many times. I'm on so many pages.
Don't get me wrong. Some of them might be trolls. I don't find it funny. It pisses me off because as many trolls as there are that might be doing that, people actually do that. If you don't know the difference between bore sighting and actually sighting your rifle in, do not step a damn foot in the woods.
Take the day and go get rounds on paper. Please, please, please. Because not only are you going to, well, I mean, I've already said it, you're just going to give yourself a terrible experience, especially if you're brand new to it. It's your first time going out. You're going to shoot this deer. You're going to hit it back, or you're going to miss the deer. I would rather you miss the deer
100%.
rather than gut shot it and look for it for 5 minutes, like what we talked about earlier, and not even give half an ounce of effort
Yeah.
of trying to recover this animal.
Don't be that person, man. If you've never been out before and you're going to go out at the last minute, think about it. You know, if it's something new to you, it can be very exciting to get out, but please, please, please make sure you are doing it the right way, taking every step, every measurement that you can to ensure that you're not only going to be safe, that others around you are going to be safe, but frankly, that you're doing your best to take care of the animal you're about to harvest.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm going to say on that note, man, because that really gets me fired up. I'd rather not end this episode just sitting here bitching about other hunters, because I don't like doing that. I think we're all one big team, and we should all learn from each other. And hell, anybody out there listening, again, whether you've been hunting for 40 years, 50 years,
First
one
year.
day, yeah, first year, one day, whatever it may be, I hope you get something out of that. I hope you can relate, especially to that back half segment of knowing your equipment. I'm so glad you brought that up, because it couldn't be anything more than the truth, because it's just a cold, hard truth. Practice, man. Know your equipment. Know what you're doing when you step foot in those woods. But be aware, just because you know what you're doing and you got your stuff figured out, there could be somebody else out there that doesn't. And just like I said, that last scenario really pisses me off. As a hunter, I would want to show somebody the proper way to do it so they can learn from it and get better. You know,
100%.
as much as I'll sit here and talk a little bit of smack about people who may take that route, hey, man, I want to help you at the same time to ensure you're not going out and making any avoidable mistakes. And again, just being safe. Where I work, the big term is safety first, and it's preached every single day. In the woods, the number one mistake you can make, and I'm going to say it and then we're going to wrap things up. Number one mistake you can make in the whitetail woods is not to be safe. Be safe, man. Be safe, be smart. I think I referenced on the show the term crack 'em early, crack 'em often.
Mm-hmm.
Don't drink in the woods, man. Be safe, be smart. I don't care. The stories my dad has told over the years of the old deer camps he used to go to, and it actually kind of turned him away from hunting for a time, of just people that were being irresponsible, staying up all night, going out freaking
Hammered.
smoked and hammered. Be smart, guys. Please. I mean, be smart, be safe. I'll hammer it home there. I'll leave it there. You know, I could keep talking for another hour about being irresponsible. It's so easy to do, but hell, we're 53 minutes in, and I think this is I'm hoping for our first comment or something, because we haven't had much feedback yet. I know we're new. We're not the biggest on social media. You know, again, the Instagram page I got. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. Leave a comment. If you made it this long, say something. Say something. It gives us more. It gives us more to talk about, more to explain. And if you guys got a question, please reach out, leave that comment. Whatever you want to do, email me. I don't care. However you want to do it. I'm not going to give you my phone number, not yet. Probably not ever. I got to really know you to do all that. So Tony's lucky he has my phone number after some of the stuff he sends me, especially when I get a phone call. I'm kidding. Relax. All right, we're gonna branch out there.
That clip will make it'll surface eventually.
Guys, that clip is coming soon. That might be like the first YouTube short we do is going to be you saying, okay, dude, I heard the safety click. I heard the safety click, and I just like naturally kind of tensed up and braced. I don't want to spoil the rest of the clip. It was funny. I shouldn't say it's funny, but looking back on it, again, you learned from it, and we got a little bit of humor out of it now, and that's a positive. It's a good memory that the two of us can share. So, well, maybe not so much on your end, but 50-50 ball. Yeah. Anyways, guys, seriously, thank you so much for listening. You made it this long. We really appreciate it. Drop a comment, please. Let us know if you've been out there hunting, what it's looked like. Let us know if you got a question. Let us know just your thoughts on what we're talking about. I said last episode, if you just want to call us two idiots sitting here drinking beer, blabbering nonsense, name of the show is called Buckin Nonsense, man. Don't get it twisted. That's what we do. Anyways, thank you all so much for tuning in to the third episode of Buckin Nonsense. And we sure as hell will see you on the next one. We'll see you later, y'all.
Later.